So I had to make this elongated. I didn't want to have to buy the elongating hole saw, so I just moved the table over a little bit with everything anchored, so we should have a good oval hole here. I needed that additional area in there to keep any restrictions down on this burner plate. Now I've got to go and add 4 holes to the corners here and get this welded. We've got the road furnace outside now. We finished ramming the refractory a couple days ago. So I'm going to go ahead and start bringing this thing up to a slow heat. We're starting off with just regular old charcoal, and I'm going to add about a bag of that over the next hour and a half. And from there, we're going to, once about 2 hours is up, we're going to switch over to coke, and we're going to add forced air, and we're going to bring the temp slowly up to about 2,000 degrees, which should be enough to go ahead and drive off all the moisture along with vitrify this. And if that doesn't do it, we're going to be switching over to diesel and forced air probably around 6 o'clock this evening, and with no doubt after about an hour at 3,000 degrees we should be good. Charcoal and coke coming out of the top. This is the slag hole. I'm going to let it run on a low temp for about an hour like this, just to cook off as much water as I can. Then we'll run the temp on up. That's all the steam coming out of the refractory. Furnace turned out running great. We got it way past iron melting temps, and the refractory is vitrified into a ceramic now. Next step is to unwrap this thing and get it on its stand, get the burner on it, and get it up and running. It will not take $88 worth of fuel to vitrify this one. I got Buddy here and Jake. They are up to something. I can't say for sure what. Huh? Let's see how we did. This one has been sitting for about 3 days. I think it's safe to get all this mess off now. Right. Yep. It's still mighty wet. But it is hard. So before I go too far, I'm going to put a timing mark on this lid. We will put it directly over the tweer here. Use a scraper if I can. Good grief. There we go. Well, so far we have preserved Josie's heirloom. Alrighty. Let me see if I can gently wrap that. Let me go get my hammer. I'll use this. Now the bottom here has been vitrified. So way down in here, that's the bowl. Then we have the PVC pipe, and from there it is on top of this. So I know that the refractory is too soft yet on the part we just rammed to go prime. I'm going to crumble it if I try that. So what I'm going to do, this is vitrified. This is good and hard. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get something short and put in there and put some pressure on it that way and see if we can pop that loose. Okay guys, this is not coming apart. The silicone has bonded well to both layers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick this entire thing in the kiln, and I'm going to jack it up to about 500 degrees and just let it sit there the rest of the evening, and then I'll shut it down. And once things cool down, I'll take it out. I'll pull this apart, get the bowl out. I don't think there's going to be anything left of that PVC pipe. If there is, it's just going to be a charred, nasty looking thing. And then we will put them both back in. I'll just go ahead and bring it up to about 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. Let them sit there overnight at that temp, soaking, and shut it off tomorrow and pull them out. That should vitrify. And it should stabilize everything to where we can get it together. And but the big advantage of that is I won't tend to crack this big block like that if I take it up gradually. So anyway, I'm going to do that now. Just put it down in the kiln, and I got to looking, and I got an element starting to stick out there. I need to fix that before that starts touching anything in there. But anyway, like I said, we're going to crank this up. I'm going to go ahead and go 600 degrees. That's not going to hurt that bowl. It will gradually get up to temp, and then it will gradually come back down. The tape, glue, silicone, all that should be charred when we open this back up. Okay, I've set my limit to 200 degrees for now, and I'm going to let it soak at that temp, and that will help steam it off. I don't want to go cracking that thing, especially with no shroud around the outside of it. Well, this is the last 4 straight edges, and it never fails. I just shipped one yesterday, and that's when I get an order, right? When I get home, I find out, dadgum, I could have took 2 at the same trip. But anyway, one of these is going to go to Australia. You're looking at the remainder, well, minus 1, right? And it's going to be about a month before we have any more of these ready to sell. I just wanted to tell you ahead of time. As I said last week, I was hoping to restock before it got this low, and it's not happening. Anyway, got to get one of these at the post office. Meeny, miny. Strange request, I know. All right. Off to Australia these go. We'll want to pack this really good. If their mail carrier is anything like ours, they're probably using a kangaroo. So, we want to make sure this thing will hold up to the rough terrain down under. So we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be running the metal shaper. Yeah.
Did you get that package to Australia shipped?
I sure did.
Did you give him a call? The email said you were supposed to call him when you shipped it. He said, give you a bell. That means give him a call.
As what I was trying to tell you, we're fixing to run the metal shaper. Even though that's got nothing to do with foundry work, you'll see why I'm fixing to demonstrate this shortly. Notice the way these are ground. This is high-speed steel, and I ground just a little bit of a rake on the back side. I am going to see that shiny edge. We're going to take care of that. Even though it's not related to most everything else I do around here, I wanted to give you an idea of what that little Atlas 7B metal shaper can do. And as you can see, there's no chatter between the holes. Of course, all that has to do with having a good sharp cutter and sharpening it the correct way. Metal shapers do have a certain profile that's not related to lathe tooling. And I didn't waste a lot of time on squaring the ends up too well, as you can see there. What I'm up to, guys, I've got to sell that thing. I've got to make room, and at the same time, we need to use the money for other things that are more foundry related. With that said, this thing needs to go to a good home. It's in good shape. It looks dingy and dirty, but it has been taken care of, and I lube it anytime I've used it. And I'm going to tell you that today is the first time I've used this in several years as far as cutting any serious chips with it like this. But as you can see by the finish on that piece that we machined, this thing is good, tight, rock solid. The Atlas 7B started out as the Atlas 7 metal shaper, and the Atlas 7 was a good idea, except they weren't rigid. Anytime the ram would take a deep cut, it would flex the knee, and the knee would dip down. So they had to come up with a modification, and they come up with a pedestal. So these are the Atlas 7Bs. The 7Bs have this extra supporting foot that anchors to the knee and rests on down here. And it slides across this machined surface here with the cross travel of the X. Now, these things are limited in their parameters. You only have like a 7-inch stroke, and I forget what the X and the Y are. It's a dandy little machine for the majority of little things that I've done with it over the years. And it's all original, except for one thing, the motor, which I'll get to in a second. It has all the covers. If you've looked over here, it's off. The reason for that, when I had to take the old motor off to get it rewired, let me back up. When they quoted me $800 to rewire the thing after it shorted out, I ended up having to resort to retrofitting it with a newer model motor, which works just fine, except it's causing problems for the guard on this side. So I've got the guard, it's intact, there's no cracks in it, or this one for that matter. They're both in good shape. All the decals are on here, the nameplate, the serial number. All the decals here. The original Atlas vise, 7B vise, along with the wrench that goes with that, and the Atlas 7B base. That's original. All this is intact, except for the motor. Everything is here. Now, when you go look for one of these, you are most likely not going to find one with the original vise. You're most likely not going to find one with the original base. You're most likely not going to find one with matching guards. And if you do, some Chinese import that they used. I've seen those on eBay that don't look anything like the originals. You've got a rock solid little Atlas metal shaper here, and I hunted for 2 months before I found this one. Now, with that said, I'd like to get what this thing is worth. I want to auction it off, but I don't want to put it on eBay. I don't want to deal with that. I wanted to keep this more of a personal auction, just for those of you that follow me, and we'll see how it goes. So with that said, if you're interested in this, send me a bid. Just email it to me at clark@wendyhillfoundry.com, and in the subject just put bid, where I know to go ahead and check that by next Saturday. So if you or someone you know is interested in one of these, take a look at it. I have a decent video here that shows the actual condition of it, what's here, and what it can do. All right, guys, next week we will be showing you iron being poured. Matter of fact, I poured some this morning, but we didn't have enough time to fit all that in this video at this late notice. So I'll talk to you later. For those who have been asking about the Windy Hill Foundry hats, these are now available on my website, wendyhillfoundry.com, under stores, or you can click on the above link. These are on the pricey side, but keep in mind the shipping is included. Have a good day.